All right.
No, don't do it that way. Do it the long way.
All right, fine. You want it?
Yeah, well, because it just fits better. It works better on YouTube.
I got you. That's fine.
But Chris, you bring up a valid point. How you guys doing? It's Jim Fetzer. Some of you know me, some of you don't. Some of you think you do, but you'll never really know. But anyway, tonight I'm hanging out with Chris. I'm down here in Crownsville. I'm in the garage because it's like my sanctuary of where I'm staying at a friend's house. And over the past few years, 2 years, I've been out and about. People have seen me out, and they really can't get an idea of like where Jim is. Sometimes I'm a little off, or I go a little fast. I'm going to slow things down with you a little bit and kind of tell you what I'm coming out of, what I had to go through and where I'm at. But I haven't quit, haven't stopped working, haven't stopped doing what it is I think I'm created to do. But just like all of you, I deal with something, and this is just one thing. This is, 2 years ago on Valentine's Day, I met what I thought was the love of my life, a woman from Philadelphia by the name of Brenda. And everything, if you want to talk about being on a personalized roller coaster with God of things, doors were just opening. It was like, and go. And I felt 50 feet tall. And in this, have a long-term relationship with a man who was her second, love. She was a widow by the time she was in her young 30s, young daughter. And she met this man who was 25 years older than her, and, he was very well-to-do from the Philadelphia area. And he was worth about $52 million. And she helped him build this empire. And I said, well, it's a little bit more complicated than just leaving somebody. It's because of how long they were together. They were grandfather claused common law marriage, which was like a divorce. So I was encouraging her to go see an attorney and everything because she had rights and so forth. Now, her mom and dad lived in one of this man's homes. Her father worked for the guy, and this man basically was their knight in shining armor. Now, her mom and father had been together since they were 13 years old. Mother just recovered from hip surgery. And her father, who had recovered cancer, mom sat vigil bedside while he did that. They'd been together since they were 13 years old. Well, before meeting me, Brenda found out that this guy just wasn't a nice guy. Had some ties to doing some pretty bad things to people. And that wasn't who she was. And I respected that, having been the victim of bullying and all of that myself. I could understand. And so I was advising her, and we couldn't help that we fell in love. And in our love affair, Brenda got pregnant. It's the last thing either of us needed. But I wasn't scared, but at the same time for her, she had too much on her plate. And so we discussed abortion, and it's not what either of us wanted to do. It just we believed at that time it was the right thing to do. So it was agreed. And so we got a hotel room and spent a nice romantic weekend together. One day she was going to go to the doctor and find out if, in case, she was going to go get some business done. Tuesday, she was to see the doctor, get the morning after pill. Wednesday, take it. Thursday, recover. Friday, we would be in Baltimore for Cedar, and then Saturday we were going to be in Virginia for the chili cook-off, hanging out with Cedar in 10 years. And so Monday she left, and she called me up late, and she was like, Jim, I can't make it. This went down. Shorty came and told mom and dad, and it's just a mess. I'm like, it's cool. Just take care of, do what you got to do. Call me in the morning. Tuesday morning rolled around. I was supposed to go to the doctor with her because that was part of the deal. If I was going to agree to that, I had to be a part of it. Well, she called me up and she wouldn't come get me to take me, so she went on her own. Then she went to see her attorney. Tuesday was just a debacle. This guy had went over to her parents' house trying to make her out to seem like a whore. Talked about me and everything. It was way off base. Wednesday, she did her thing, and then she said, she called me up, and she said that she took the pill, and she was going to go to sleep, and she'd call me if anything happened. around midnight, I was reflecting on a previous relationship, and I called a girlfriend of mine named Christine, and we were on the phone, and I had said, you know, I've went through as much in this short-term relationship as I did in every relationship before it. And I said, with the exception of, you know, I lost a lot of people that were very close to me, and the only people that were really left were my mom and outside my children, my mom, sister, and grandfather. I said, if God takes any of them, I'm going to fall apart. And we ended our conversation. Thursday came, you know, Brenda called me. She had skip in her steps. She sounded like she was alive. She felt good. You know, she was excited about the weekend. It was great. She said she's going to see stuff. I said, go do what you got to do. She said she was probably going to stay at home, you know, at her house just to keep things calm there because she didn't want to cause stress with her parents, and I agreed. And, you know, or no, she was actually going to stay at her girlfriend's because she didn't want to cause any stress for anybody else. So she stayed at her girlfriend's house where she was at. We agreed. Friday morning, I don't know, something came over me, and I was just like, you know, this guy has got to get off her back. And so I called him up, and I was telling him, you know, and I said, whatever you're thinking, you're wrong about me. And if you want to fix things in your life, you're just going about it the wrong way. I said, you got this poor girl and her family thinking they're going to end up on the street and homeless. And we went on at it for like 45 minutes. Finally, you know, got off the phone, and he said, well, if that's what they think, then they don't really know me. I said, no, that's between you and God. I'm just telling you. Well, Brenda never called, and I called her, and I was feeling betrayed. I was feeling stood up. Some stuff went down. You know, and the next thing I knew, I decided I was going to swing over to her parents' house, just see if her car was there, you know, I don't know, kind of ease my heart, if you will. Well, I turned the corner, I saw a cop car in their driveway. I was like, oh, shit. I'm like, I got to get out of here. So I'm like, this guy's got some power. So I'm like, I got to get as far away from this place as I can. So I need to get on the road. I'm on 95 South. I'm heading to Baltimore. I'm going to go hang out with Seether. And, you know, I get to Wilmington and I get a phone call, and it's the police. And they're asking me questions. I'm like, all I want to know is Brenda okay? So I'm like, I know stuff you don't know. You just got to tell me. And they said, she's fine. But her parents are dead. And they wouldn't give me any details. And I was just like, what the fuck? So I turned the car right around, drove all the way back up to King of Prussia, ended up in an interrogation questioning for about 2 hours, where they tried to make it seem like I killed this girl's parents. But I had everything I needed to prove that we were in a relationship and everything else. So it changed. And it was a legitimate homicide. Or not homicide, but a suicide, you know. Well, it turns out that these parents, they wrote 4 letters. One to her and her brother, which were 3 to 4 sentences long and identical except who they were addressed to. They wrote a 4-sentence letter to her daughter. And then they wrote this guy a 5-page letter. And even said something that I had said about being homeless and left out on the streets. That's pretty wow, you know. But needless to say, you know, I was there outside for Brenda. I wasn't able to be there because, you know, what do you say? This, and I'm this new guy. It's just you don't do those things, and I get that. But I tried to be there for her. I remember sleeping in my car right down the road just so she would feel safe. You know, she was scared to have me there, but she needed to have me there to feel safe, and I did that. Well, then I found out about a Philadelphia congressman that was putting together, lobbying to put a bill together for a bullying act in the state of Pennsylvania. And I went and I met with him, and I said I want to totally get behind it. Now, in the meantime, I had Brenda and I in therapy with one of the leading therapists surrounding suicide who actually lived in Philadelphia, who was referred to me by a very, you know, close industry friend. Her name is Kathleen O'Hare, and if anybody's dealing with something, I definitely recommend you go talk to her. And so, you know, we're going. But anyway, my point is, I went to the Congress and said, you know, this is great, but you have to put something in under wrongful death. Because if you don't put something in under wrongful death, it won't be considered a homicide, and nobody's going to be deterred from doing it because it's going to be like any other hate crime. It's like, oh my, you know, you can sue me for this. Or you can, no, threaten somebody's life or you cause somebody, you should be willing to risk yours. That's like murder. And they were against it. But I was very diligent, and that became something I was very passionate about, having been the victim of a bully. And not only that, it hit home because I was named after my uncle who had committed suicide when I was a young boy, and he killed himself the same way in a car, carbon monoxide poisoning. You know, I've had the sad life to have been involved in hundreds, or not hundreds, at least a dozen suicides and 3 murders. You know, one of which was some friend of mine who betrayed me and killed somebody that was very close to me. So we all have baggage, we all have problems, but, you know, the world has to change. I try to change every day because one of the reasons, because I realized that in my passion, my anger, my vengeance, I scared probably the best thing that ever happened to me away. But I've learned from it. But if we don't try to do something different as people for each other, the outcome will be the same for all of us. Just something to think about. Just want to share something about myself with you. So, anyway, tomorrow, actually, Chris, what time is it?
It is 12:25.
12:25, so it's a new day. It's a new day, and today is whatever you want to make it. All you have to do is want to make it that and put forth a proactive effort, and you can make it anything you want. All right? So till next time, this is me saying I love you. We'll see you later.